Hello everybody and welcome to this Pilates workout. It's going to focus on foot health and we're going to move through the classical mat work repertoire while I talk about the foot health. So at the start now I'm going to stand up on my mat. I'm going to ask you to come and stand up on yours. Obviously the upper part of my body is going to disappear, but you'll be able to see my feet. So please join me. So we're going to start off with our feet together and legs together in a parallel position, and I'd just like you to really feel your feet. So in particular your heel bone, the ball of your big toe and the ball of your baby toe, and you could just start to sway slightly forward and backward and allow the body weight to transfer forward into the ball of your big toe, the ball of your baby toe, and then when I go backward it's a little bit more in my heel. And those are important points in the foot. Heel bone, ball of big toe, ball of baby toe. It's like the muscular tripod connection of the foot to the floor. So then we want to come to a kind of a centered position where you feel your body weight transfer equally between each 3 points. And then even just kind of taking a moment, a few nice inhales and exhales, allowing that body weight to just transfer through the foot evenly and feel your feet root into the floor. Next thing we're going to do is externally rotate the thighs to create Pilates V. So you twirl your thigh bones outward like I'm showing you now, and bringing the feet into a gentle V position with about a 1 fist gap in between the big toes. And then we're going to squeeze our heels together, really squeeze the backs of the heels, the backs of the calves, the back inner edge of your thighs, even gently squeezing your glutes together as if you're holding a coin in between your bum cheeks. And you inhale to raise your heels up for me then, and exhale to lower them. So I'm still squeezing my heels together as I inhale, float up onto the balls of the toes, and exhale down. Try to keep your upper body quite stable as you do that. So just kind of picking a point on the wall in front of you to look at, or just gazing at the screen helps to kind of create stability. And you're really trying to feel yourself push off of the balls of your toes and feeling the arch of the foot switch on. So think about lifting the foot up from underneath, lifting up the arch or the sole of the foot. So for these, we're going right up onto the balls of the toes, nice high arch. But now, let's just try to lift halfway up. So just 1 or 2 inches. This is something that we call releve in Pilates, where you don't go all the way up. It's sort of a middle, intermediate, just up halfway. And stay there and kind of bounce a little bit. And you might feel the muscles in the sole of your foot have to switch on to support you. And then let's lower down. And let's do that again. I'm still squeezing my heels together like mad and have a gentle connection in the glutes. So we're really switching on the back line of the legs while we do this. Lift up into a releve, just 1 or 2 inches off the floor, and then just give me tiny little pulses. I'm just lowering and lifting my heels so they can feel the arch muscles engage, and you can feel they get kind of tired. They're not used to working. Last one, let's releve up just a little. Pause there. Make sure you're holding your abdominals in gently because that also helps with the balance. And I'm just kind of floating a little bit up and down, little pulses. And then I'm going to lower all the way down. Then we're going to go into the foot workout created by Joe Pilates. So keep your heels together, keep that lovely Pilates V. First part of the movement is I squat down, then peel my heels up, straighten the knees, lower down. So squatting or plie, stay there. See if you can feel a tightness in the back of your ankles. The Achilles tendon might be tight. Try to keep your feet glued to the floor and just squat and maybe even a little bounce to feel that tightness at the back of the ankle. Then keep those heels squeezing as you lift them, straighten the knee, lower down. Let's inhale, squat down. Exhale, lift the heels. Inhale, straighten the knees, exhale, lower. Keep going. So I'm going to inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. So you have that lovely blue breathing pattern. Keep going. Any little clicks that you hear in the ankles and the toes, that's good. They're probably loosening out. Last one is squat or plie down. Peel the heels up, lifting the arches, straightening the knees, lower down. And then there's a reverse direction too. So in this one we releve up first, not too high so the arches are working. plie, try to keep that upper body nice and stable. Try to stretch the sole of the foot down towards the floor and then straighten out the knee. So I'm going to releve up, plie or squat down, allowing the knees to go nice and wide. Reach and articulate the arch of my foot to the floor and then straighten the knee. Up in the releve, down into my plie, and see if you can feel, like, is there tightness? There's a lot of tightness in the back of my ankles when I try to get those heels down and then straighten. Last one, we're inhaling up, exhaling down into the plie, inhaling, articulating the foot to the floor, exhaling to straighten the knees. Okay, so that's our standing footwork. Now we're going to take ourselves down onto the mat, and if you feel up to it, I'm going to do a squat down onto the mat with you today. So you can slide your right foot out, lift the heel up just a little in a releve, straighten the arms out in front. And because it's my right leg that's out in front, when my arms are stacked on top of each other, it's the left arm that goes on top. So it's always the leg and the arm go in opposites. Take a deep inhale, squat down and try to sit down as carefully as you can. And then once we're seated, we're going to come over onto all fours. So we're going to do a little bit of massaging of the feet to make sure that your hands are under your shoulders and your knees are under your hips. And if you have any problems with your wrists, you can go onto the fists at some point or even down onto the forearms. I'm going to straighten my right leg out behind me and tuck my toes under and forward. And then I'm just reaching my heel away to get a lovely stretch in the back of the ankle, the Achilles tendon. And then I'm going to do that again. Reach the heel away, stretch out the back of the ankle. Make sure your knee is not locked, so soften the knee so that you feel the stretch in the back of the ankle rather than only in the knee joint. And then I'm going to massage. So I'm going to roll over onto the ball of my big toe, press the front of my toes into the mat, roll onto the baby toe, and back to start. Really gently mush your toes into that spongy mat to massage them. Allow your foot to twirl around on that ankle joint, and the knee joint is getting nicely lubricated too, and the thigh bone is twisting gently in the hip socket. Let's reverse the circles. So anytime we're working on our foot health, we're really having a lovely positive knock-on effect right up into the leg, up into the knee, and up into the hip, and the lower back and the lower tummy muscles. They're all connected. So we're having a good effect all the way up the foot, right up into the pelvis. Let's change sides. Now, of course, hold your tummy muscles in when you're doing this so that they're helping to hold your body weight. Stretch that other leg out behind you. Tuck the toes under and forward. Let's reach the heel away and release. And then again, reach that heel away. And you can pull your belly up the front of your spine as you reach your heel away to get a nice oppositional stretch. One more time, pull the belly in and up, reach the heel away. And now let's start circling over onto the big toe, press the toes, baby toe joint, back to the start. So your feet are rarely in these positions, and we just want to get some nice mobility back into the toe joints. And if you're feeling any pain around the arches of the feet or the ball of the big toe, just try to gently massage it, because you can get rid of some of that tension. You don't want to push too hard. Let's reverse the circles. You allow your body weight to go forward over your shoulders to accommodate the movement. Mush, mush, mush the toes. Make sure you keep your feet onto a nice cushioned mat. Don't do this on a sore floor. And then I'm going to come back to the center and do some archetypal postures. So testing now to see if my feet are nicely loosened out. You're stretching your toes out underneath you, sitting your body weight, booty onto the heels. If you have sore knees, a nice thick pillow in there to kind of prop you up would just help the knee a little bit. But if your knees are lovely and healthy, then this kind of kneeling is perfectly fine. Now we're going to go the other way. This is my personal help. Tuck the toes under and forward, sit your booty onto your heels, and this should help to stretch out the foot, the sole of the foot fascia. You're really tucking your toes under and forward. Take a couple of nice inhales there. 2 more. Last one. And then again, I'm going to stretch my toes out underneath me. So these are, as I said, they're archetypal postures. Human beings are designed to be able to sit in this way to rest, so for minutes or possibly hours. And it's just a good test of your mobility to see, is it comfortable for you to sit like that, or is it tricky? Let's do that other one again. Tuck the toes under and forward. And try to get as much of your body weight onto your heels as you can tolerate. Don't force it, but just feel for a little bit of a stretching sensation. Make sure your baby toes have tucked under and forward too. I'm always kind of checking mine just to make sure, because they're getting so mushed in our shoes that sometimes they kind of get left behind. They're all shortened, so tuck them under and forward as well. Then we're going to try to test, can we come up to standing from this position? So I'm going to try to slide my right foot out directly in front. Don't let it go out to the side. And then push off of that back foot to come up to standing. Like a lunge, and then I'm going to lunge back down again as carefully as I can. Slide that foot under, and then we're going to go again up, slide the other leg out, and again try to make it go out straight if you can. Push off of that back foot, and then I'm going to come down, nice and controlled. Slide the foot back under. One more each side. Slide it out, push off, down I go, slide it back under. Sit down, lift up, slide the other one out, push off it again. If you look at a point on the wall in front of you, makes you a little bit more stable, because when I try to look around and look at the camera when I'm doing this, I get really wobbly. And then we sit down, you can sit onto a hip, swivel your feet around. We're going to do a little bit of a seated foot stretch as well. It's called a foot wave. So you're going to try to isolate what your toes and the sole of your foot are doing. So sitting up nice and tall, pull your toes muscularly back towards you, and now try to reach the arch of the foot forward, and then release the toes forward, which brings me into a lovely point, like a ballet dancer's point. And then I'm lifting up from underneath, like I'm sucking the arch of my foot back towards me. The toes are still reaching forward, heels are reaching forward. It brings you into your bird on a perch, your Pilates bird on a perch, toes and heels curling towards each other. And then I release the toes, and I go again. Pull the toes back towards you, reach the arch away, let the toes reach forward, lift up from underneath, arch pulling back towards you with toes and heels reaching forward, and then release the toes. Let's go again. Pull your toes towards you, reach the arches away, release the toes forward, lift up the arch from underneath, release the toes. Let's do one last one. Draw your toes to you, reach the arches away, release the toes forward, lift up from underneath, suction cup the sole of the foot, release the toes. So we're going to need all of those foot workout positions for this footwork. That's at the start of the mat workout. So when you're ready, find your scoop. You can hold on to the backs of your thighs to roll your pelvis down. You're bending your knees into your chest. Heels together, toes apart. Hands support the head. Inhale the legs away and exhale them back in. Squeeze your heels together and try to keep your feet muscularly pointed. So it's that Pilates V that we had when we were standing, and by squeezing the heels together, you get to switch on muscles in the backs of your thighs. And you're inhaling as you stretch your legs away and exhaling them back in. Inhale the legs away, exhale them back in. Two more. Last one. Now we can roll the head and shoulders down. Inhale your head and shoulders down to the mat. Exhaling, remember, you're lifting your head up. It pivots to look at the belly. The upper spine curls up. Knees are together, feet are together now in bird on a perch. Inhale the heels away. Exhale them back in. Try to really reach through the heels and keep a flexed or a wrinkled position at the front of the ankles. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze those feet together. Squeeze the knees together. Inhale away. Exhale back in. Stretch your legs all the way away and bring them all the way back in. Knees towards the eye sockets. Last one. Inhale away. Exhale back in. And then we can inhale the head and shoulders down again. Exhale back up. Knees stay together, feet together. Stretch the sole of the foot open. Inhale, reach through the heels. Exhale them back in. So the first position had a pointed foot. The second one had that bird on a perch that really contracts the sole of the foot to switch those muscles on. And then this third one, you're stretching the sole of the foot open to let a lot of fresh blood and oxygen rush in. Because after we contract, which squeezes toxins out, then we stretch the sole of the foot open, lots of fresh blood and oxygen rush in. Make sure you're really reaching your heels away and trying to keep as much of your shoulders up off the mat as possible. Last one, bend the knees in. We can inhale the head and shoulders down. Exhale them back up again. Straighten your legs upwards. Hold on to the backs of your thighs, holding on to the bum cheeks. Inhale to point the toes. Exhale to flex. And work through your foot muscles like that wave you did at the start. So there's 26 muscles, 26 bones in the feet, and about 34 muscles and joints. So use them. It shouldn't just be this bony thing, this one solid bony thing. Your feet can articulate. So try to point and then flex. You can hear mine are cracking. And then I'm going to keep my feet in a flex position for a change today for my 100. Make sure the upper spine stays curled down, straight arms. Inhale for 5. Exhale for 5. Inhaling. And exhaling. Think about drawing energy up through the sole of the foot up into your belly. Keep going. Make sure you got your scoop, but you're definitely pulling your belly in. Let's do 3 more. And the pumps should be nice and big. Last 2. Last 1. Good. And you can bend your knees in, keep your abdominal connection as you curl up to seated. We're going straight into some roll downs. Let's do it with a pointed foot at the start today. So try to suck the sole of the foot back towards you, but you're reaching your toes forward. So you have a lovely alive foot. Curl forward and keep reaching through those toes. Now you can roll down halfway or 3/4, making sure you can hold your belly in and keep your feet down. If you can roll down all the way with that level of control, then feel free to do so. Arms reach up, head lifts up. Inhale the shoulders up, exhale forward out the ear. Make sure that you're really feeling that energy travel up from the sole of the foot, up through the legs, out the crown of the head. Let's do that one more time. Try to keep the foot on point for this last one. Point the toes away as you roll down. And then I'm going to roll the way back up and forward. And now I'm going to change my foot position into a flex. So I'm reaching my heels away and drawing the sole of the foot back towards me. Inhaling, rolling the hips down. Exhaling, the head lands. Inhale, the head and shoulders up. Exhale, forward out the ear. Draw the energy up through the foot muscles, through the legs, up into the belly. And when you want to roll back up, keep pressing those heels down and reaching them away. Try to keep the heels down on the floor. Last one. And then we're going to stay down there and transition into our leg circles. I'm just going to move into the center of the mat so you can see me. So the foot on the floor is going to stay flexed, and I'm going to squeeze the other leg to me, holding onto the shin. Squeeze and release it 3 times. And then we're going to straighten that leg up to the ceiling, hold on to the back of the thigh. Inhale, pull your straight leg to you, exhale it away. Keep that leg on the floor, heel reaching. And then straight on and by your sides. Your working leg is in a turn out. Circle it across the body, down to the end of the mat, back up and around. Inhale across and down. Exhale back up and around. Let's pause at the top and do reversal. We do 5 in both directions. And we're going to leave that leg pointing up to the ceiling or bend your knee into your chest to climb up it. Hook your forearm in behind your thigh, sit up nice and tall, lifting up that back waist. Inhale, float your shin up, exhale it down. Inhale, float up. Exhale down. Next time, inhale, float up, stay there. Reach the heel away and then point. So we were stretching the hamstring a moment ago. Now we're stretching the hamstring and the Achilles tendon at the back of the ankle. Circle your foot around on your ankle to mobilize the joint. Reverse the circles. Walk your hands up your leg to your ankle. Now we do the tree exercise. Your leg is like a tree trunk. You're going to inhale to climb down your leg. Exhale, back up. Inhale, climb down. Exhale, back up. Last one, try to think about drawing the energy up through the sole of that foot. Flex your foot, place your hands on the sole of your foot. Pull your belly in, stretch your spine up. By bending your elbows, you're pulling off of your own leg and you try to stretch your spine and your leg as you get lovely wobbles in the back of the leg as you try to stretch it out. Take it down. Let's do the whole thing on the other side. So we're going to roll down, squeeze your other thigh to you, 3 times the charm, 3 times you squeeze and release your thigh to you. Think of the thigh bone dropping deep into the back of the hip. Straighten the leg up towards the ceiling, hold on to the back of the thigh, inhale gently, pull your straight leg to you. Just stretch out the hamstrings. Make sure the foot on the floor is flexed, the working foot is on point, arms down by the sides, 5 circles across the body. And reverse them. And again, bend your knee into your chest to curl up to seated. Hook your forearm in behind your thigh. First is the prep for the tree exercise. So I inhale my shin up, trying to stretch my hamstrings a little bit more. Inhale up. Exhale down. And I'm going to inhale up and stay there. Reach the heel away and point. Reach the heel away and point. And reach away and point. And then circle your foot around on your ankle to mobilize the ankle joint. Reverse the circles. Walk your hands up your leg to your ankles. Use your tummy muscles, use your leg muscles. Try to stabilize the leg. And inhale as you climb down. Exhale back up. Inhaling, we're climbing down the leg. Exhaling back up. Again. Exhale back up. And then we can roll down. Bend your knees into your chest. Hop up to seated. We're going to do a little bit more foot massage in a seated position. So, fingers underneath the foot. I'm going to take one foot, slide my fingers underneath. See if you can press your fingers in between the toe joints to splay your toes. As our toes get really tight, they're getting squished together in shoes. So see if you can press your fingers in between your toes and resting that foot onto the other thigh. And then I'm just going to try to circle my foot around on my ankle. Now I have quite a tight hips, so you might notice that I'm also kind of pushing my thigh out of the way with my elbow to try to open that hip gently. Don't forget to do a few in the reverse. Stretch, stretch, stretch out those toes. Even press the thigh out of the way, a sneaky hip opening while I'm at it, and then we change. Let's do it on the other side too. So slide your fingers in from underneath, press them in between the toes. And again, I'm going to sneakily just push my thigh gently out of the way to give me an inner thigh stretch. Just because my hips are tight, yours might be lovely and open. Let's circle. circle the foot around on the ankle joint. Another little trick is if you have those toe separators at home that you use when you're painting your toenails, if you think your toes are kind of mushed together, you could put them in at night time and maybe just watch a movie, relaxing on the sofa, and even some pointing and flexing of the foot, like the foot waves, is really good when you have those separators in, just to try to bring back that space in between the toes so that they're not all squished, because they're in shoes all day and they're squished together. The next exercise in the sequence that we're going to do is called rolling like a ball. So I'm just moving a little bit to the end of my mat. Lift the feet up off the floor, heels together, toes apart, knees shoulder distance, head curl down. Inhale, roll back. Exhale, return. Like, try to keep your feet alive. So think about sucking your feet up into your pelvis as you inhale. Exhale. 3 more. Last one. Okay, hands way out behind you, lift your hips up, lengthen your legs back into the center. Next exercise sequence is the abdominal sequence. So we're going to grab hold of one shin, roll backwards as slowly as you can with control. Squeeze that leg to you, stretch the other one away, and you change. And again, think about drawing one foot all the way into you while you stretch the other foot away. We don't want to forget about our feet today. Sometimes they're so far away from your brain that you're totally disconnected from them. So think about the feet, feel into them. I've got a muscular point on my feet to make the muscles work. Bending both knees into my chest, we do double leg stretch. Inhale, stretch arms and legs away. Exhale, suck your feet back into your belly. Inhale, stretch those muscular feet away. Exhale, draw them back in. Inhale, stretch away. Exhale, squeeze. 2 more. Last one. Transitioning into scissors, straighten one leg up to the ceiling, scissor the other leg away. Grab hold of your ankle and then change legs with control from the tummy. Stretch out the muscles in the back of this leg. Swap with control, stretch. I'm trying to crawl my upper spine up to meet my shin. Keep awareness in those foot muscles. Don't just swing them around. Draw them up into your pelvis. Last one. And then you could bend your knees into your chest, and we're going to do a little bit of massage today. So let your head rest onto the floor. I'm going to move a little bit so that I'm not in shadow. Press your thighs to you. So I've got my hands on the top of my shin bone, just under the kneecap. And actually, by squeezing your thighs to yourself in this way, you're giving yourself a gentle lower back of the hips stretch. And then we want that thigh bone to really sink deep into the hip sockets, and I'm going to press the thigh bone just gently in. It's just gentle. You'll just feel a little bit of pressure as the back of your hips is pressing onto the mat. And then keep that thigh bone pressing inward gently to the hip socket as we start to circle the thighs in opposite directions. So it's a little massage, pressing your thigh bones deep into the hip sockets. Gentle pressure, so don't let your legs fall away from you. Press them in. Visualize your thigh bone sinking deep into the back of the hip socket where it belongs. Unfortunately, our thigh bones are getting a little bit pulled out of the hip sockets all the time, so we want to push them back in. And we're going to do a few in reverse. Keep that gentle pressure. And notice if you feel that it's easier on one thigh than the other. Is it easier for you to get one thigh bone to sit into the hip socket? Can you tell the difference? Can you feel a difference in the sides of the body? My left thigh always feels a little bit weird. I'm going to try to really encourage that to sink and sink and sink in. Now we're coming back to the center. We're going to continue with the abdominal sequence. Hands support the head. Take an inhale. Exhale the head and shoulders up, straighten the legs, keep those feet alive. Inhale your muscular feet away. Exhale, suck them back up into your belly. Inhale, lower the legs away. Exhale, suck them back up into your belly. Careful not to lower your feet past your control point. You have to be able to still scoop the belly in and keep the back of your hips stable on the mat. Last one, let's inhale the legs away. Exhale, suck them back up. Transition into crisscross. Twist your elbow to the opposite knee while the other straight leg reaches away. Try to keep as much of the upper body, upper shoulders up off the mat. Twist. And when you think about those feet today, you're sucking one in while you reach the other one away. Last two. And one. Bend both knees into your chest. Hop up to seated. Let's go straight into some spine stretch. Open the feet to mat distance apart. Reach the heels away. And again, think about lifting up from the sole of the foot. All the awareness in the sole or the arch. Sit up tall. Inhale upright. Exhale forward. Inhale upright. Exhale forward. Think about drawing the energy up from the sole of the foot, through your legs, up into your pelvis. Exhale forward. When we are an embryo growing inside the womb, your feet grow out of your pelvis like little feelers. The feet and the legs, they grow out of the pelvis like little feelers. And your feet respond to the uneven surfaces of the earth. They keep taking in information and transferring that information up into the lower back muscles and the pelvis. So when you come upright, really think about starting the energy. Feel the feet draw it up through the legs, up into the pelvis. Next time we spine stretch forward, we're going to transition into open leg rocker. Pull your belly in, slide your heels towards your crotch. Lift your feet up off the floor. Try to maintain the balance on the meaty part of the bum. Inhale to straighten one leg up and away. Exhale it down. Inhale, straighten the other leg up and away. Exhale it down. And see if you can maybe even keep doing that or straighten both legs for your climax. Can you straighten both legs? If you can't, just keep working on one leg at a time. Good. And then we're going to take the feet down, roll backwards into some corkscrew. Head, shoulders, and hips are resting. Legs stacked over the pelvis. You want your leg weight falling somewhere between your pubic bone and your belly bone. So don't have the legs hanging out there. Have them over, a little bit of soft bend in the knees, okay? Suck the energy up through the feet into the belly. And you're circling your hips. And then we're going to alternate the direction each time. So every time I come to the top of the circle, I go back the way I came. I'm rolling over onto the back of the hip, the tailbone, the back of the other hip, back to center. Inhaling down, exhaling back up and around. And last two, keep that focus on the foot muscles. Suck your feet up into your pelvis to let your thigh bone sink into the hip socket. Foot connection, thigh connection. When you're ready, we're going to flip back up to seated. Not sure if I left myself enough space. I have. Flip up to seated. Make sure feet a little bit wider than mat distance for your saw now. Reach the heel away. Draw the sole of the foot back towards you. Arms are wide. Inhale, center. Exhale, twist and reach. Inhale, center. Exhale, twist and reach. Inhale, center. Draw the energy up through the foot muscles to the leg, up into the pelvis. Inhaling. Start the inhale from that sensation in the feet. Feel into your feet. Draw it up through your leg muscles into the pelvis. Last one. Come back to the center. Let's flip over onto our bellies. Legs together on one side of the mat, hands to the other side. Pick your legs up, pivot around, and away you go onto your tummy. For your swan today, rest your forehead on the floor, tuck your nose in out of the way, and rest your straight arms down by your sides. Feel how the shoulders fall slightly forward. Now just ever so slightly pick your shoulders up, and that will help slide the shoulder blades a little bit closer together. Keep your eyes open. I'm going to actually place my hands on the sides of my thighs, and I'm going to keep my eyes open as I look along the mat, along the floor away from me, up the wall, reaching my breastbone with my gaze, and then down I go. Draw the energy up through the sole of the foot. Inhale. Exhale. And it's not about how high you go. You're really reaching your toes and your pubic bone down into the mat and away from you, while you pull your breastbone in the opposite direction to elongate the spine. Last one. Inhaling up, exhaling down. I try to keep my shoulders up the whole time. Hands either side of you on the mat. Sit your bum back onto your heels. Take a little counter stretch or child pose stretch. And then we're going to come up onto our hunkers or our haunches to do a little bit more sneaky toe massage. So rocking forward over the toes, bringing my knees towards the floor. And then rocking backwards, hands behind me, trying to bring the foot flat to the mat and sitting into a nice little squat. And then I go forward again. Use your tummy muscles all the time. Rolling forward over the toe joints. Rolling backward, even like maybe a little bounce there to stretch out that Achilles tendon. Go forward. Mush, mush, mush the toes. We want lovely flexible toe joints. Last time, when I take my hands backwards, I'm going to balance on my fists as I stretch my legs out and lower the booty down to transition into neck pull. So in this exercise, feet are 1 or 2 fists apart. So they're only hip socket distance apart. You're reaching your heels away, you're drawing your sole of your foot back towards you. Hands on the base of the skull to elongate the neck. I'm going to ask you to inhale upright. Exhale forward, crown of head to thighs. Inhale upright and looking at your feet, you're going to tilt the spine backwards and then tuck the pelvis slightly under. Only go backwards as far as you can, inhaling upright again. Exhaling forward. Inhale up. Exhale all the way down or only as far as you like. Inhale up. Exhale, forward out the air. Reach, reach, reach through the heels. Lean the spine backwards. Tuck your pelvis under and forward. Inhale forward. Exhale forward. Now the next thing that we're going to do is like a kneeling version of shoulder bridge. So I'm going to turn around on my mat so that you can see me. And we're coming to a kneeling position. And when I'm kneeling, just making sure that my knees are, they're really in line with my hip sockets. So there's only about a 1/5 gap in between my knees there. Checking that my heels are stacked under my sit bones. And I'm even just going to check the baby toes. They're often twisted up off the floor. So I'm going to take my fists and just kind of knead and press my toes, baby toes down to correct some of that kind of twisting in the feet. And even kind of gently pressing onto the outside of the foot there, which kind of feels funny. I can feel it in my knees. It's not unpleasant. And then I'm going to bring my fists to the mat, press the shins down, and we're going to try to lift the hips up and lower. So your target areas here, you're really trying to open the front of the hips. So I'm stretching my thigh bone down into the mat and pulling my belly up the front of my spine. I'm really interested in getting rid of some of that tightness that we feel in the front of our hips, especially if you're stuck sitting down all day. You'll feel how tight they are. Now we're going to stay up there, hold it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then down I go. And then I'm going to do the same thing, bringing in some pelvic twists. So lifting the hips up, try to keep your shoulders and your ribs relatively stable. Just twist the pelvis slightly towards the camera and back to the center, and then slightly the other way and back to the center. I'm going to rest out of that. So what you should feel when you do that is kind of a nice stretching sensation of the fascia at the front of the hip, down the thigh, even into the knee. So you might feel kind of a sliding and a stretching in the knee all along that area. It's trying to help your fascia to kind of slide and glide better and get rid of some of that tightness. So see if you can again lift up, twist your pelvis a little bit towards me, towards the camera, back to the center, to the other side, towards the camera, to the center. It's a small movement. You should be feeling into the sensations in the front of your hips. You just want to feel a gentle stretch and that kind of peculiar sliding and gliding in the front of the hip, the thigh and the knee. Let's do one more each way. And now you can come back to the center, sit down. Give yourself a little stretch. Counter stretch. Now, when we come out of the counter stretch, you always leave your sit bones resting on your heels. Pull your belly in to stack your spine up from the bottom to the top. And to finish off today, we're going to finish on a little bit of seal. So you can thread your hands in between your legs, and then you hold on to the side of the foot like so. Pull the belly in to pick the feet up. Use your inner thigh muscles to squeeze your thighs together, and your upper arm muscles and bones are trying to push your thighs apart at the same time. And use your feet again, alive feet, as you inhale. Roll back, exhale forward. And if you can just roll in this position, that is amazing. We're just massaging the spine. But if you can clap your feet, inhale, clap, clap, clap. Exhale, clap, clap, clap. Inhale, clap, clap, clap. Exhale, clap, clap, clap. And the claps are supposed to come by my powerful thighs squeezing. I'm not just flapping my feet around. Feet down. And you're cooked. So that's it. Do look after your feet. Use any of those little tricks if your feet get sore, especially if you're doing a lot of walking. It helps to kind of ease them out. And I'll see you next time.